In this video, I'm going to show you how to paint the Tomb King on Bone Dragon for Warhammer the Old World. And whether you're painting one for your own Tomb Kings collection, or simply because it's such an incredible centrepiece miniature, I'm going to help you paint it to a high standard. Don't worry though, because I'll walk you through painting the Bone Dragon, the Tomb King himself, and the ornate helder he commands from in a really approachable step-by-step way that's easy to follow along with, so by the end of this tutorial, you'll have the knowledge and confidence to get your own fully painted. And if you stick around until the end, I'll show you how to paint the best part of the miniature, the undead cat. My name's Michael and welcome to TableTopReady. Today I'm really looking forward to showing you guys how to get your Tomb King on Bone Dragon fully painted, so you can be really proud of it once you're done. And so you know, all the paints and brushes I use will be shown on the screen as I use them, and they'll also be listed in the description along with links to my favourite hobby tools and equipment you see me using. And before we get started, we'll first have to get our Tomb King and Dragon ready for painting, which involves building them using sub-assemblies and getting them undercoated. I've mostly built the Bone Dragon, but I have left him separate from the base, making areas easier to reach. I've done the same for the helder and the Tomb King himself as well, which is going to make painting all these details a much more enjoyable and far less frustrating experience than if everything had been fully assembled. For the undercoat we're using Wraith Bone, which gives us a strong foundation for the bone of the dragon and makes all of our other colours appear more vibrant. If you want to learn more about getting your miniatures ready for painting, I do have a dedicated video on the channel that covers sub-assemblies and undercoating your miniatures in depth, so make sure and go and check that out. So when you're ready and have your Bone Dragon and Tomb King built and undercoated, we can get started. Let's start by painting the dragon and work on building up all those different tones and colours across the bone. For a large project like this, it's really important to have a strong foundation of knowledge, which we'll build as we work our way through painting our Bone Dragon, and the first thing we're going to look at is how to apply our paint. We always want to paint the base colour first to give us a great foundation to work from, and for our bone we're using Wraith Bone. And so we achieve best results, we always want to thin our paint, and I find an equal amount of water does the trick. Then once you're ready, keep your brush moving and try not to go over any areas you've already painted to prevent creating any unwanted texture whilst the paint is still drying. And I know we've already undercoated everything using a Wraith Bone spray, but we shouldn't rely on undercoats to paint our miniatures, as they don't always match the paint from the pots with the same name. This means we can cover any areas the spray might have missed, and if we need to clean up any mistakes later, it won't be so noticeable. When you're happy you have a strong foundation colour, we can start adding more colour and making our bones more interesting. The next colour we're using is Screaming Skull, and we're going to use this to start creating gradients on our bones. So let's start by working out from the centre of each section, as well as focusing on any shallow and flatter more open areas. Be sure to use reference if you need some help deciding where to do this. To help with the colour transitions, we can go back in with the previous colour to help smooth things out. Once you're happy with that, let's continue with the Ushabti bone, continuing to build up those gradients towards the end of the bones. Let's finish our gradients with Morghast bone, focusing more towards the very ends of these areas. Just know that this doesn't have to be perfect, in fact it's better if it isn't, as it helps everything to look more natural. Just remember to take your time and have fun building up these different tones and colours until you're happy with it. There are areas that continue to get darker, like the tips of the wings as well as the main joints and feet. For these areas, let's push the gradients further using Carrick Stone into Baneblade Brown. For the tips of the wings, let's go even darker using Storm Vermin Fur, then Skaven Blight Dinge. For the claws and teeth, we'll take these all the way to black using Abaddon Black. Then after creating all those transitions, we'll still need to do the backbone and tail, so let's first paint these using Carrick Stone, and then we want to get darker towards the tip of the tail, working through Storm Vermin Fur and Skaven Blight Dinge again. After you're done having fun painting the bone of the dragon, we're going to need to help define our details so we can see them better. Let's start with our backbone, which is pretty complicated, so let's use a shade which is going to make picking out details super easy. We use an Agrax Earth shade straight from the pot, applying this in a controlled way across the bone, making sure you get good coverage, but try not to let this pull up too heavily in details. If you notice it starting to build up anywhere, just use your brush to remove excess. It's also important to keep an eye on it as it dries, as the shade can continue to collect in unwanted areas. Once it's fully dried, you'll see how it's helped to bring out all those details and add depth to the bone. The next step is to define all those areas where the bones meet using Gawthor Brown. This is called recess shade, and it involves painting directly into recesses to create definition, helping all those details stand out and become easy to see. Once you've finished your recess shades, we can start adding some highlights to really bring everything together. We'll start with the backbone, and because it has a lot of fine detail, we'll do a dry brush, which is a really effective and easy way to pick out those raised areas without needing to be precise. We use a Ushabti bone, and we want to work the paint into brush first, then remove most of it on paper towel until there's very little left. Then lightly move the brush across the miniature, allowing the paint to catch only on the raised details. Take your time and build this up gradually. We want to keep it subtle so we don't overpower the tonal variation we've already created. Once you're happy with that, we can go in with a lighter dry brush of Screaming Skull, focusing this on the very tips and sharper details to really push those highlights. To highlight the rest of the bones, I want to show you how to line highlight. We're starting with the darker areas of bone using Screaming Skull, and for best results, again we want to make sure to thin our paint with an equal amount of water, and I'm also removing excess paint on some paper towel first, which gives us more control when highlighting and prevents thick blobby lines. When you're ready to highlight, just make sure to take your time painting thin lines along any raised edges and details. As the bone gets lighter in areas, we'll have to get lighter with our highlights as well, so let's also do some highlights with Wraith Bone and then White Scar, so they'll still stand out against the different tones in the bone. And once you're done, you'll hopefully see that it was all worth it and how it's helped to make all the different shapes and edges stand out. If you want even more help with your highlighting and want to know what helps me improve, I do have a dedicated video on the channel going into more detail about it. We can now finish highlighting our bone dragon using Administratum Grey on all the teeth and claws. With those highlights all done, we've now finished the largest part of our miniature, and we can start working on the more intricate and interesting details. The next details to paint are all the different metals, and I want to show you how we can make these really interesting and full of character. Let's start with the decorative gold using Retributor armour, and we want to pick out details like the trims and anything that looks more ornate like the wings on the back of the holder. When you have a solid base colour, we can create our definition using Reikland Flesh Shade. Once everything is fully dried, let's continue to build up the brightness using Liberate Gold, layering this on top of the Retributor armour rather than covering it up, which helps to keep things looking more interesting. Finish your decorative gold highlighting edges and details with Stormhost Silver. When we're painting our characters and centrepiece miniatures, it's always worth spending that extra time and effort making them look more interesting. They're also a great opportunity to try out and practice those new techniques and effects. The next kind of metal we're working on is aged bronze, starting with Fulgurite Copper, and this can be details to help break up our gold areas, adding even more visual interest. Next, we're going to apply Zeraphint Sapphire to these areas, making sure everything fully dries before going on to the next step. Now that's fully dry, we can start to age the bronze and give it a bit more character. To do this, we'll create a subtle wash by thinning Nylock Oxide with an equal amount of Alarming Medium, as we're just looking for a subtle effect and nothing that's going to overpower what we've already done. We can apply this over the bronze details, then once it's fully dried, we can highlight the edges and raised areas using Canoptech Alloy. The last metal we're going to do is the Meteoric Iron Blade, and for this we're going to use Leadbelcher. Iron was a very uncommon metal when the Tomb Kings were living, and was typically reserved for nobles and kings. Once you have your base colour, we're going to shade the blade using Norn Oil. Then once that's fully dried, apply a second layer to darken some areas even more. Then finish the blade painting highlights using Stormhost Silver. Now that all our metals are finished and add in plenty of visual interest, we can start introducing some more colour by painting all the precious stones. This is where everything really starts to come to life, with the precious stones and sandstone adding some much needed colour and contrast to break up all those metallics and bone. One of the standout details of our Tomb King on the Bone Dragon is the holder he commands from. For this, let's start with Lupercal Green, which is going to give us a great mid-tone to work from, so make sure to get a nice solid base colour to start with, painting multiple thin layers. When you're done, we want to glaze in our darker tones with Inky Darkness, which has been thinned down with twice the amount of water, making the paint more transparent. Apply this glaze in even thin layers where we think it would help to break up flat areas on the Howdah. At the same time, we can also use Inky Darkness for our recess shade, helping to bring out the shape and details of the Howdah. Once you're done creating definition, let's do a chunky highlight using Cablite Green, which is a chunkier line, which means we'll still see this highlight once we add our finer highlights on top of this. After that, let's do our highlights painting all those edges with Bright Green, and because the Howdah is so blocky, we can use the side of our brush, making this step even easier. We can't expect to be able to get everything fully painted in just one sitting, so let's just slow down and enjoy the process. And this is also going to go a long way into helping us achieve better results once we're finished. We're now going to work on the blue and red precious stones that give us that iconic Tomb Kings aesthetic. For the blue stone, let's start with Thousand Suns Blue for our base colour. Next, we want to glaze with Stegadon Scale Green to make things look more interesting. Now paint some chunky highlights using Ahriman Blue. Then once that's done, we can do our edge highlights with Blue Horror. For all of our red stones, we can paint our base colour using Mephiston Red. Now we can create a nice looking gradient with a Corn Red glaze. Next, use some Evil Sun Scarlet to paint our chunky highlights around the edges. Then after that, move on to painting edge highlights with Fire Dragon Bright. Now things are looking more like they belong to the Tomb Kings, I want to show you how to paint any obsidian details, and for these let's start with a Baden Black. We then want to paint some chunky highlights using Cantor Blue. Then to make things look really sharp, we can use Blue Horror again for some really fine edge highlights. The last kind of stone we need to get painted is Limestone. For limestone details, including the base, we can start with Mulgas Bone for the base colour. Let's darken any recesses with Xandu Dust. Then layer up and lighten raised areas and details with Ushabti Bone. Finally, finish with some highlights using Wraith Bone. Moving into the last section of the tutorial, we still need to get our Tomb King finished and fully painted. We're in the final section now, and I want to show you how to get all the different materials finished, as well as finally getting our Tomb King painted. Let's get all the wicker materials done first, which is the seat and all the supports holding the Howdah in place, and for these let's start with Steel Legion Drab. Now we're done with our base colour, we can use Agrak Surshade to pick out all that detail more easily. We can then finish all these wicker details using Carrick Stone to paint all of the raised details. For the material on the seat and all the bindings, paint them using Corn Red to start with. When you're done, let's glaze the lower half of the seat material and the middle of the bindings with the Galvorback Red glaze. To finish the materials, first do a chunky highlight with Mephiston Red along all the edges, then finish with a final sharper edge highlight using Kislev Flesh. I know how easy it is to feel overwhelmed when painting larger miniatures, but as long as we're going with a plan and take a moment to write down how we want to approach painting everything before we get started, not only are we more likely to finish our project, but we're also going to enjoy the process without feeling unsure about what to do next. We're now going to work on getting our Tomb King finished, starting with the Tomb King's skin, which can be kept nice and simple, starting with a base coat of Deepkin Flesh. After that, apply Bright Queen Chill Contrast to add definition and give the skin that cold, undead feel. Once that's dry, we can use Deepkin Flesh to pick out raised features and details to lighten them back up. For the glowing eyes, start by painting them with White Scar, then apply Striking Scorpion Green Contrast on and around the eyes to create that glowing effect. After finishing the Tomb King's skin, it's now time to paint all the materials and cape. For the lighter linen vest and headcloth, start with Wraithbone. We can then darken areas of the flatter areas, making it more interesting with Screaming Skull, and then use Shabti Bone. Then highlight all the light linen edges with White Scar. For the darker material, including the inside of the cape, start with Skaven Blight Dinge. Darken shallow and recessed areas with a Baden Black. Finish the dark materials with an edge highlight using Storm Vermin Fur. The last thing we're going to do is paint my favourite detail of this miniature, his undead cat. So let's start with Kislev flesh for our base colour. Now we're going to apply Beltane green to achieve a more rotten undead skin. Like our Tomb King, we can then go back in and lighten details with Flayed One flesh. We can all agree that the Tomb King on Bone Dragon is a really epic centrepiece miniature, but something like this can be really intimidating to paint. So I'm really glad I've been able to make this video showing you how to paint it to a high standard and hopefully have some fun along the way. So let's see how it turned out. But before we see the finished Tomb King on Bone Dragon, I want to say a massive thank you to all the amazing people who've made this tutorial possible with their continued support. It really does mean a lot. Your generosity allows me to get all the paints, brushes and miniatures I need to make these tutorials, so I can continue to help you get better at painting. And I especially want to thank anyone who's recently become a supporter or has donated to the channel. Thank you so much. If you enjoy the content here on TableTopReady and feel you get value from it, you can also support the channel by becoming a channel member or joining my Patreon. You'll get access to our Discord, regular updates and early access to videos and tutorials. And for higher tiers, I've even made some exclusive masterclasses to help you get some of the more unique centrepiece miniatures painted. We've now finished painting our Tomb King on Dragon, and I hope I've been able to give you the confidence and knowledge to paint your own. I've got plenty of other tutorials on the channel showing you how to improve your painting, and if you want help painting the rest of your Tomb King's army, then go and check out my rank and file tutorial video, which is now available. I really do enjoy making these tutorials and I hope you find them useful. If you do, then please leave a like and let me know in the comments below. I always love hearing about your own hobby and what you thought of the video. As well, make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss out on future content, and I'll see you in the next video.